So today I want to talk about something that happened this morning that I predicted weeks ago. And the fact that it happened exactly as I said it would tells you everything about who actually holds power in this conflict. Iran just officially refused to attend the Pakistan peace talks. And within 3 hours of that announcement, Steve Witkoff, Trump's special envoy to the Middle East, was on a plane to Islamabad in emergency mode. And China is watching all of this very carefully because China understands exactly what this means. America has lost control of the negotiation process. And what comes next is going to reshape the entire regional order. Let me walk you through what happened in sequence because the timing tells you everything. At 6:42 a.m. Islamabad time this morning, Iran's foreign ministry issued a statement. The statement was brief, formal, and devastating. Iran thanked Pakistan for its hospitality and diplomatic efforts. Iran expressed appreciation for the mediation attempts by China, Russia, and Saudi Arabia. And then, Iran stated clearly that it would not be attending the Islamabad talks because the proposed framework does not address Iran's core security concerns. Now, let me translate what that actually means. Iran is saying, you invited us to talks where the entire purpose is to pressure Iran into reopening Hormuz without giving Iran anything meaningful in return. We are not interested. We control the strait. We have economic security guaranteed by China. We have military backing from Russia. We do not need these talks. If you want Iran at the table, you need to offer Iran something significant. Otherwise, we are perfectly comfortable with the current situation. This is a public diplomatic humiliation for everyone involved. Pakistan spent weeks organizing these talks. Pakistan invested political capital positioning itself as a neutral mediator. China, Russia, and Saudi Arabia all sent high-level delegations to Tehran begging Iran to attend. And Iran just said no to all of them publicly. But the most humiliating part is what happened next. Because within 3 hours, Steve Witkoff was on a plane to Pakistan. Not scheduled. Not planned. Emergency trip. Witkoff is Trump's personal friend and special envoy. Witkoff does not fly to Pakistan on 3 hours' notice unless there is a genuine crisis. And the crisis is this. Without Iran, the Pakistan talks are meaningless. And America just realized it has no leverage to get Iran to change its mind. So now Witkoff is flying to Islamabad to try to salvage something from this disaster. But here is the problem. What can Witkoff possibly offer? America cannot give Iran what Iran wants. Iran wants American recognition of Iranian sovereignty over Hormuz. America cannot give that. Iran wants permanent removal of all sanctions. America cannot give that. Iran wants formalized security guarantees from China and Russia. America obviously cannot give that. So what is Witkoff going to do? The only thing he can do. Witkoff is going to try to convince Pakistan, China, Russia, and Saudi Arabia to continue the talks without Iran and create some kind of alternative framework that puts pressure on Iran indirectly. But this will fail. Because you cannot resolve the Hormuz crisis without the country that controls Hormuz. This is basic logic. Now let me explain why I predicted Iran would refuse. Because I have been saying for weeks that Iran has no incentive to attend these talks. And people kept asking me, how can you be so sure? What if China pressures Iran? What if economic sanctions start working? What if Iran's domestic situation becomes unstable? And my answer was always the same. None of those things are happening. Iran is economically stable. Iran is politically secure. Iran controls the strait. Iran has all the leverage. Why would Iran give that up? And this morning proved I was right. Iran does not need these talks. Everyone else needs these talks. And when you are the party that does not need something, you get to dictate the terms under which you participate. Iran just demonstrated that power publicly. Now, let me talk about China's reaction because this is fascinating. China issued a statement within 90 minutes of Iran's announcement. Very unusual for China to move that quickly. The statement expressed disappointment that Iran would not attend, but also stated that China respects Iran's sovereign decision-making and understands Iran's security concerns. Read between the lines. China is publicly supporting Iran's refusal while maintaining diplomatic cover. Why? Because China benefits enormously from this outcome. Think about what just happened. Iran refused to attend talks that were supposed to resolve the Hormuz crisis. This means Hormuz stays closed longer, which means oil prices stay elevated longer. Which means China's economic competitors in Asia and Europe continue suffering while China gets discounted oil from both Russia and Iran. China is not disappointed. China is delighted. But China cannot say that publicly. So China expresses diplomatic disappointment while privately celebrating. And there is another layer. By supporting Iran's refusal, China is demonstrating to the entire region that alignment with China provides more benefits than alignment with America. Iran aligned with China. China guaranteed Iran's economic security. And now Iran has the confidence to refuse American pressure publicly. This sends a message to every nation in the region. Saudi Arabia, UAE, Pakistan, all of them are watching and recalculating. Now, let me talk about what Witkoff is actually going to try to do in Pakistan, because I can predict with reasonable confidence what the American strategy will be. Witkoff is going to argue that the talks should proceed without Iran. Witkoff is going to propose creating a multilateral naval coalition to force Hormuz open by military means. And Witkoff is going to try to get China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan to support or at least not oppose this coalition. This will fail completely. China will refuse. Russia will refuse. Saudi Arabia will probably refuse because Saudi Arabia is terrified of Iranian retaliation. And Pakistan will be stuck in the middle trying to maintain neutrality. So Witkoff will return to Washington empty-handed, and the crisis will continue exactly as it has been. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because America's failure to get Iran to the negotiating table is going to force a choice. America can either accept that Iran controls Hormuz and negotiate on Iran's terms, or America can escalate militarily to try to force the Strait open. There is no third option. And both of these options are politically toxic for the Trump administration. If Trump negotiates on Iran's terms, he looks weak. He looks like he capitulated to a nation he promised to crush with maximum pressure. His political base will be furious. The Republicans will fracture. Trump's entire foreign policy credibility will collapse. But if Trump escalates militarily, if he launches a large-scale invasion to seize control of Hormuz by force, the costs will be astronomical. American casualties will mount. The economic disruption will worsen, and there is no guarantee of success. This is the trap Iran has created for America. Every option America has left is bad, and Iran knows this. This is why Iran can afford to refuse the Pakistan talks. Iran is comfortable letting America stew in this dilemma for weeks or months while Iran's strategic position continues strengthening. Now let me address what I know some people are thinking. What if America just accepts the status quo? What if America decides Hormuz can stay closed and American allies will just have to adapt? This is theoretically possible, but it is politically impossible. Because the moment America accepts that it cannot reopen Hormuz, America's entire alliance structure in Asia begins to collapse. Japan, South Korea, India, all of them are watching, and they are asking themselves a very simple question. If America cannot protect our energy supplies, why are we aligned with America? Why are we hosting American military bases? Why are we accepting American security guarantees? If those guarantees are meaningless when we actually need them, then we need to find alternatives. This is the existential threat to American global dominance. Not military defeat, not economic collapse, loss of allied confidence. Because American power is not based primarily on American military strength. American power is based on the network of alliances that amplify American strength. When those alliances start fracturing, when allies start hedging, American power contracts rapidly. And this is exactly what Iran's refusal to attend the Pakistan talks accelerates. Every day Hormuz stays closed, every day America fails to solve this crisis, allied confidence erodes a little bit more. And once that erosion reaches a tipping point, the entire structure collapses very quickly. Subscribe for more analysis on how Iran's diplomatic refusal just exposed America's fundamental weakness and what comes next explained clearly. And tell me in the comments, do you think Witkoff's emergency trip to Pakistan will accomplish anything? Or is this just theater to cover American failure? I will see you next time. Let me leave you with one final observation. I predicted Iran would refuse these talks weeks ago, not because I have special intelligence sources, not because I have inside information, but because I understand the strategic logic. When you control a choke point that everyone else needs, when you have economic security guaranteed by a great power, when you have military backing from another great power, you do not need to negotiate. You make others come to you with offers. And if those offers are insufficient, you say no. Iran just said no. And the panic in Washington, the emergency trip to Pakistan, the desperate attempts to salvage something, all of it proves that Iran read the situation correctly. Iran holds the leverage. America does not. And until American policymakers accept this reality, every attempt to resolve this crisis through pressure or coercion will fail exactly as this one just did.